Sir Patrick Stewart OBE is an English actor, whose career has included roles on stage, television, and film, beginning his career with a long run with the Royal Shakespeare Company. His first major screen roles were in British television and film during the mid-late 1970s, including Hedda and the miniseries Claudius. In the 1980s he began working in American television and film, with roles as Captain Jean-Louis Picard in Star Trek: The Next Generation and its successor films, as Professor Charles Xavier in the X-Men series of superhero movies, and voice roles including CIA Deputy Director Avery Bullock in American Dad, and narrating the film Ted and its sequel. He currently stars on the Starz TV series Blunt Talk. In 1993, TV Guide named him the best dramatic television actor of the 1980s. Early life. Patrick Stewart was born on 13 July 1940 in Mirfield, in the West Riding of Yorkshire, England, to Gladys, a weaver and textile worker, and Alfred Stewart, a regimental sergeant major in the British Army. He has two older brothers, Geoffrey and Trevor. Stewart grew up in a poor household with domestic violence from his father, an experience which later influenced his political and ideological beliefs. He spent much of his childhood in Jarrow. Stewart's father served with the King's Own Yorkshire Light Infantry and was regimental sergeant major of the 2nd Battalion. Parachute Regiment during the Second World War, having previously worked as a general labourer and as a postman. As a result of his wartime experience during the Dunkirk evacuation, his father suffered from what was then known as combat fatigue. In a 2008 interview, Stewart said, "My father was a very potent individual, a very powerful man, who got what he wanted. It was said that when he strode onto the parade ground, birds stopped singing. It was many, many years before I realized how my father inserted himself into my work. I've grown a moustache for Macbeth. My father didn't have one. But when I looked in the mirror just before I went on stage and saw my father's face staring straight back at me, I believed that no woman would ever be interested in me again. I prepared myself for the reality that a large part of my life was over." Patrick Stewart. Regarding his becoming bald as a teenager, Stewart attended Crowley's Church of England Junior and Infants School. He attributes his acting career to an English teacher named Cecil Dormond who put a copy of Shakespeare in my hand and said, "Now get up on your feet and perform." In 1951, aged 11, he entered Mirfield Secondary Modern School, where he continued to study drama. At age 15, Stewart left school and increased his participation in local theatre. He acquired a job as a newspaper reporter and obituary writer at the Mirfield and District Reporter, but after a year, his employer gave him an ultimatum to choose acting or journalism. He quit the job. His brother tells the story that Stewart would attend rehearsals during work time and then invent the stories he reported. Stewart also trained as a boxer. He lost his hair at the age of 18 due to suffering from alopecia areata. The traumatic experience made Stewart timid, and he found that acting served as a means of self-expression.